In a small village called Greenfield, there lived a humble farmer named John Miller. He was not a wealthy man, nor did he own vast lands. His field was small, and the soil was often dry and difficult to cultivate. While other farmers boasted of large harvests, John struggled to grow enough crops to support his family. Many villagers mocked him. They said, "John, why do you waste your time? This land is dead. Nothing grows here." Others advised him to find work in the city and abandon farming altogether. But John never lost hope. Every morning, before the sun rose, he went to his field. He cleaned the soil, removed stones, and planted seeds. He watered the ground even when it seemed pointless. Some days, the sun scorched the earth. Other days, heavy rain washed away the seeds. Still, John returned and planted again. His neighbors laughed. "Hope will not fill your stomach," they said. John smiled and replied, "Hope is the seed of all success. Without it, nothing grows." Years passed. The field remained barren. Many would have given up, but John continued. He believed that even the smallest seed, given time and care, could grow into something beautiful. One morning, something changed. As John walked through his field, he noticed tiny green shoots pushing through the soil. They were small, barely noticeable, but they were alive. The seeds he had planted long ago were finally growing. Tears filled his eyes. After years of struggle, the land was responding. Villagers heard the news and came to see. They were surprised. "How did this happen?" they asked. John knelt beside the young plants and said, "I never stopped believing. The earth needed time. Just like hope, growth is slow, but it is real." The villagers remained silent. Some smiled, realizing they had underestimated him. John's field continued to grow. What was once barren land now produced crops. It was not the largest harvest in the village, but it was enough. More importantly, it proved a lesson. Hope, patience, and effort can change even the hardest situations. John became known as the farmer who planted hope. People began visiting him, seeking advice. They asked, "How did you succeed when everything seemed impossible?" John answered, "I planted seeds, but I also planted belief. Without belief, the seeds would never grow." The success of John Miller spread across Greenfield. People who once mocked him now admired his patience. Farmers from nearby villages visited his field to learn his methods. They expected secrets, special fertilizers, or expensive tools, but John had none. "I only planted seeds," he told them, "and I never gave up." One visitor, a young man named David, asked, "But what if the seeds had never grown? What if all your effort was wasted?" John smiled. "Effort is never wasted. Even if the harvest is small, the lesson remains. Hope teaches us to keep moving forward." David looked at the field. The crops were healthy, swaying gently in the breeze. It was proof that persistence could change reality. Inspired, David returned to his own land. His field had also been barren for years. Neighbors told him it was useless, just as they had told John. But David remembered John's words. He cleaned the soil, removed stones, and planted seeds. Each morning he watered the ground. Some days nothing changed. Other days weeds grew faster than the crops. It was discouraging, but he continued. Months passed. One morning, David noticed tiny green shoots in his field. They were small, just like John's had been, but they were alive. David knelt and touched the young plants. A smile crossed his face. He realized that success was not immediate. Growth required time, care, and patience. Villagers noticed the change and gathered around. They had doubted him just as they had doubted John. Now they watched in silence. David said, "Hope is like a seed. It looks small, but it contains the power to grow into something great." The villagers nodded. Some offered help, and together they worked to nurture the field. What once seemed impossible became possible through cooperation and belief. John visited David's farm one day. He looked at the growing crops and placed a hand on David's shoulder. "You have learned the lesson," John said. "Hope is not just about waiting. It is about working, believing, and never giving up." David smiled. I understand now. John looked across the fields. He remembered the days when his own land was barren. He had faced doubt, failure, and hardship, but he had continued, and now his effort had inspired others. The story of Greenfield became known throughout the region. People spoke of the farmer who planted hope and changed lives. It was not just about farming, it was about believing in possibilities. John Miller remained humble. He continued working his field, not for fame, but for purpose. He understood that life, like a seed, required patience. Years later, Greenfield became a thriving village. The land that once seemed useless now produced abundant crops. Farmers worked together, sharing knowledge and supporting one another. The story of John Miller spread far beyond the village. People called him a symbol of perseverance. But John never considered himself special. He often said, "I am just a farmer. I planted seeds and believed in their potential. The rest was time and effort." His message was simple. Life is like a field. Some seasons are difficult, and growth may seem impossible. Yet with patience and hope, even the hardest ground can become fertile. John's legacy was not wealth or fame. It was inspiration. People learned that success does not come overnight. It requires dedication, belief, and the courage to continue. Hope, like a seed, grows quietly, but its impact can change everything. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more motivational and wisdom stories.